All right, how we doing, everybody? It is the B team. We got Mikey over there.
What's
we got
up,
Muller
guys?
over here.
Hey, Muller.
Good. How you doing?
Good, bro. What's
Very good? Very good.
It's nice
Very
to see
good.
you.
Oh yeah, this is episode 160, I believe.
Jeez.
Yep. Been a long time.
That's a lot of hours put into this shit.
A lot of hours.
160 times, let's say, an hour and a half a week plus the best bets.
It's a lot of hours.
That's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours. It's over 200 hours.
No.
Over 300 hours.
It's
over 350
it's
probably.
A
lot of hours. No, but this week, amazing. Did you notice that the broadcasts were not saying Super Wildcard Weekend? We've just thrown that to the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Weekend.
I don't like that.
Wait, when was it ever called Super Wildcard Weekend?
When they added the Super game.
Since when?
Because now there's 3 games in Wildcard Weekend.
Oh, so throwing a Super on
it. was Super Wildcard Weekend. They just took that from us this year. You know, like COVID's gone. All of a sudden, there's no more Super Wildcard Weekend. I'm erroneous. That's erroneous.
Have you been happy with the games that have been played so far? Have you liked the matchups?
Yes. I like how it's shaping up.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. You remember when we did the 3-2-1 pick?
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to lose.
Yeah, I think
I'm undefeated so far.
So I had Chargers.
You had Chargers. You had Broncos.
No,
you took Bills. Sorry.
Ravens.
Then you took.
We took the heavy favorites. And I took Packers to cover.
But you said
the Birds.
The Birds, yeah. So we've done well, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Our picks have been good,
by the way.
So
you're 2-0.
I went 2-0 on the mortals.
I went 1-1.
You went 1-1 because
That's
of
fine.
this debacle that we will get into in a second here. But yeah, overall the games have been very good. You know, Houston.
That was crazy sloppy game.
Yeah, very sloppy. But what did you expect? When the what's it called? Evil bubble, the dirty bubble comes down and just steals John Harbaugh. They really should have let everyone know that before bets were placed. Jim Harbaugh should have known that. Jim Harbaugh, sorry.
Correct.
No, but if I had one complaint about these games, you know, we've had 4 games so far. We had the Houston-LA game, we had Baltimore Pittsburgh, we had Buffalo and Denver earlier, we had the Philadelphia Green Bay game just finished up. My only complaint is that, you know, at halftime you kind of knew who was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, today it was a little.
Today was probably the only one that
it was a little different.
Yeah.
You know, like but the
10-0, like
but
there
the
was
Buffalo
a chance.
game though, like you knew Buffalo was going to win. The way the game was going, Denver didn't do anything after that bomb they threw.
Yeah.
And then Philadelphia, like you had this feeling that it was kind of going to get a little bit out of hand, but then you know you still had Jordan Love there. Josh Jacobs was balling out. And we can get into that game now, but it's just I felt like the games weren't producing good cinema.
Yeah,
I would say.
I mean, that's
what
happens.
I think tonight's and tomorrow's will be.
I think so too. I mean, I think that at least 2 of those games were like pretty solidified on who was going to win and like by what margin.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
I think the Ravens was a big stamp right there. I mean, I had the Steelers to cover, but we knew the Ravens were going to win. Same with the Bills. We knew they were going to win too. Chargers and Texans up in the air. I thought the Eagles were definitely going to win. I thought at least Green Bay would make it a field goal game.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I thought these teams would put more of an effort to make it a game.
100%.
You know, like the Baltimore and Steelers game, it was over. It was over early.
That game was over early.
The Houston game, honestly, it was over pretty early as well. Early because of what we were expecting.
Yeah,
that
was one of the weirder games that I've watched in a long time.
Just craziness.
I mean, there was just so much going on in that game that you've never seen just at a regular season game, and even whatever happened, like a blocked extra point. Herb throwing 3 or 4 picks.
Yeah.
Derek Stingley having a day. Like, I don't know. Just a very let's get into that game because.
And I want to, before we get into it real quick, I want to make sure everyone understands what's happening here. We'll be going over the first 4 games today to make sure we hit all of them at equal amount. We talk what we need to talk about, and then we will say the Sunday Night Football and the Monday Night Football game for the Tuesday episode.
Bucks Commies.
So if you're a Bucks and Commies fan, you don't care about these games. Show back up on Tuesday. But yeah, let's get into the Texans-Chargers game. 32-12, Texans take the W.
Great pick, by the way.
CJ Stroud came alive at the end. I said it in his interview. I liked where his head was at. It sounded good. He looked confident. Yeah, go ahead. You were about to get into that.
So I'll start with the Texans here. Defense, superb. Like, we've been waiting for this defense to show what they've had since probably week 3. Like, when they started off the season, they were hot. Defense was rolling. They were playing fast. They were playing sharp. They were playing physical. I feel like they hit a bunch of obstacles throughout the regular season where we forgot how good they can be when they play to their pretty much potential. I thought they had a phenomenal game. I thought Derek Stingley I thought the whole unit of the secondary, the linebacking core, and the D-line, they destroyed that Chargers O-line. They were lost. At one point, I think it was like the third or second last drive, the Chargers just gave up, and the Houston defense took advantage of it. Phenomenal game by them. Special teams, same thing. Blocked extra point. Hit the over on my bet. That was crazy. Yeah, good stuff there.
Yep.
And CJ, I still think he's not there yet. Like, sophomore slump has been here. Like, he's had a sophomore slump. Yeah. I didn't think the offense was really flowing like it should. I thought Nico was, when he was getting targeted, had a good game, but I think they were very predictable in a way. And I also think the Chargers defense played really well. You got to give them credit too. They were getting to the quarterback. I think CJ had a couple of miscues that hurt them, but they overcame it by their defense. Now on the Chargers side,
can I interrupt there real quick, because I think that is a bit harsh on the Texans offense, because when you look at it, and yes, it was very jagged, like
100%.
You want to see it flow, you want to feel confident as it goes. They still were able to put up 32 points as a team. In this offense, CJ threw for 282, 22 of 33, touchdown, 1 interception. Joe Mixon had 25 carries, 106 yards, and a tutty. You got Nico Collins, who he wasn't with CJ for quite a long time this season. Looked very good. He was 7 of 8 on targets, 122 yards, and a touchdown. 32 points on the board. The team wasn't in a good place coming in. Not as bad as the Steelers, but, not to take a shot at the Steelers. Sorry about that. But the team was in not a great place. And now they kind of look like they could get some momentum going in towards a big game against Kansas City. I just don't want this to be the Texans offense sucks podcast, because I don't think that's the case. I just think that CJ was having such a tough year.
Yes,
that,
100%.
You look at it, and we all have that idea already. We're like, all right, CJ's not playing good, so he's already being held to such a high standard as a sophomore, youngest quarterback in the playoffs, by the way. Crazy.
Younger than Jane Daniels, by the way.
And Bo Nix. So I think that we have to look at this Houston team like we did in the first couple weeks. This is a team that can go into Kansas City and on their day could produce a 32-12 game against them, because, like you said, that defense is fantastic, right? They look fantastic.
Yeah, they're rolling. That's for me. I think the defense takes a little bit of credit away from the offense, because, again, that one pick six puts up points. Yeah. Other pick, that next drive, I think he downed it around like the 20. 20 yards to score, blah, blah, blah. But regardless, anyways, the offense looked better. Again, I still think it has its moments. Like, Joe Mixon was getting stuff, but again, he broke up a couple of runs. Nico, of course, like, when you give him space, the dude's a stud. But when you're playing Kansas City, you got to be top notch. And right now, I just don't think that offense is good enough to be top notch. And that's my only thing about Houston, is when they are clicking and Stephon Diggs is back and Tank Dell is back. And that's the thing too. They're missing 2 of their big key players at receiver. Whole different ballgame when they're healthy. Then I'm like, okay, like, if CJ plays good and doesn't turn the ball over and drives down the field, holds time of possession, they have a chance to actually beat this team, because Houston's defense is legit. If Pat Surtain was not in the NFL, did not exist, Derek Stingley might be the best cornerback in the league.
Yes.
My God. Yeah. But even the picks that he had, all over the all over the receiver. What a great player he is.
Great night.
But no one talks about him, though. He's done this year in and year out ever since he's entered the league.
I feel like Houston,
phenomenal player.
Houston and Denver are very similar in the fact that, how many guys could you actually name on their defense?
Yeah, except for the only stud players that they have that everyone knows, like Pat Surtain, Derek Stingley, like Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, like the one linebacker.
Shaziz, but he's kind of only known for bad things.
Yeah, like he's only known for bad things. But hey, when he's on the field and he's not destroying Trevor Lawrence's freaking skull, he's a phenomenal linebacker too. But the Chargers, let's get to them.
Well,
go ahead.
Question quick.
Go ahead. I'm moving a little fast.
Sorry. Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited,
listen,
bro.
Let's talk about the game.
This is playoffs,
We only
dude.
get so much football.
Playoffs.
We
It's
only
so
have much more
exciting.
football.
We've waited for this, man. This is where we thrive. This is where we thrive, bro.
We really do
here.
thrive here.
I know.
I was talking.
The touchdown parlay was tough, man. I had hope that we were going to hit one. For some reason, I put it in. I was like, dude, I think we might hit this.
Well, Reed probably should have had one. It was a bad throw.
He was having a good game.
Great game.
Point.
Same with Devontae.
Or who?
We had Devontae.
Devontae.
Not Devontae.
So
yeah, Devonta Smith.
We didn't have Devonta.
Yeah.
We had Jordan Addison.
Who do we have in this parlay?
Joe Mixon. Jaden Reed was my pick. Saquon was your pick. And
Addison
I'm thinking
of my
night.
parlay. Sorry about
Devonta.
that. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
That's on me.
Devontae's out
I'm thinking about it.
right
I'm
now,
thinking
bro.
about a different one. Yeah, we had a tough day here.
Yeah.
Tough day
well,
here.
so it's okay.
But that's okay. Back to this game.
Go ahead.
You know, you look at this team, and you were saying that Diggs and Tank are both out for this season. They're not going to return. They're dead. They're dead to this team right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a moment for John Mechie to step up. A guy who there's a lot of questions like, is he able to play at this level? You know, this is a good chance for him. You know, as you could be the number 2. You could be the number 2. And then you got Dalton Schultz, who has a gigantic mouth talking about Dallas Cowboys. We own so much real estate in his head. And he's coming out here and putting it up 2 for 23.
Cade Stover has taken over his road.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. But
Robert Woods,
even Cade Stover, he only had 4 for 28. So my question is, without Diggs and Tank Dell, can this team make a legitimate run at a Super Bowl appearance
this year?
I'm not even saying a win, just an appearance.
This year?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I just don't think they're ready, and I think they don't. It's not a personnel issue, but it is in a way. Like John Mechie had a fumble in that game, crucial fumble, but a lot of questions on him. Like he was a highly touted receiver coming into the league. Where did he go to? I think he went to Bama. No, went to Bama.
Wasn't he this guy?
Maybe.
I think he was that guy.
I don't know, but highly touted. Robert Woods, same thing, a veteran, good guys to have on the team, but I don't know. It just depends how they play because they have the players on defense and they have a good offense, a good enough offense to do it. But when you're going against teams like this is like a Steelers thing. Like they're good, but they're not good enough.
On the Texans' best day, are they good enough to beat the Chiefs, the Ravens, or the Bills?
It's close, but I'm going to say no. I don't.
So there's your answer. They can't make a run.
I don't think so. I don't think CJ's ready.
No,
personally.
I don't think the team's ready. I don't think. Yeah. I think at full strength, maybe they're ready. They're close, but even then, are they better than the Ravens on their best day?
No.
I don't think they're better than
the Ravens.
They're not better than the Ravens B game. Yeah. They're not better than Josh Allen's C game.
Too. They're not better than a lot of NFC teams on their game too.
The Lions, no.
No.
The Eagles,
no.
They don't look great right now, but I would take the Eagles over them any day of the week.
They're probably
the Vikings even.
Yeah, they're going to be the dog, like the last bet dog of the rest of the playoff bracket.
Were they dogs in this game?
They were. They were plus 2.5.
They were. Yeah, because I had them.
Yeah, that was a great pick. At home, that's a good home pick right there. So last 2 years, they've gotten out of the first round, I believe, at home. So trend to follow.
Yes.
But anything else on the Texans?
No, so let's get into the Chargers here from one offense to the other. Let me tell you. Should we be giving Beast Herb, the Embiid, Dak Prescott treatment when he enters the playoffs? Because if we remember his last playoff appearance, 4-score lead over the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had Travis Etienne in the backfield. People forget that. That guy sucks now. And he blew it. Then he comes in today. There's all this momentum coming into the playoffs. You know, like they're looking real good. You got Harbaugh there. The team's going to a good place, and you get blown out again. I get it. You're on the road. I get it. Like playoff football is hard. It's hard to get into the playoffs, let alone win in the playoffs.
Gotta get hot.
But we hold this guy up there as like a top 5 quarterback sometimes. And he hasn't proven anything in the playoffs. Has he won a playoff game?
Nope. He's only been there twice.
So when are we going to start giving him the Dak Prescott treatment? When are we going to start giving him the treatment of a guy who cannot produce at the highest level? Because let me tell you, Dak Prescott has produced at that level. This guy can't even get above 2 touchdowns in a playoff game.
This is more of a challenging thing to cover because, number one, I will say this. Yes, he should be getting some criticism. If you're
4 interceptions.
Hold on a minute. I will get to that. But if we go back to that Jaguars game too, people are going to blame Herbert for that. Defense let up 26 points.
Yeah, that's fair.
We
that's
can't
totally
forget
fair.
that too.
But
like it's a lot of the defense too.
But what was going on during those possessions?
No, you got to do it. It goes hand in hand though. It goes hand in hand.
The Jags just got the ball.
100%. It goes hand in hand. They got to produce an offense, but the defense cannot allow 26 points unanswered. 27 per se. But if
unanswered.
Yes, exactly. If I have to talk about his performance, number one, he's throwing the ball way too hard. I'm not a believer that doesn't matter. I am a believer that no matter how hard you throw this ball, you got professional receivers out there and tight ends that should be catching it. Mm-hmm. The dude is zipping this ball. He's got to throw a little bit more touch on it. Listen, I'm not a fucking quarterback coach, but Will Dissly, 2 drops, 1 led to a pick. Mm-hmm. Ladd McConkey, 1 through his hands, led to a pick. So I'm not going to put 4 interceptions on him.
Mike, I'm sorry, but when Dak Prescott does this,
well, it's Dak, and it's the Cowboys. You know
it's
this.
Flooded.
Yeah,
it's flooded.
America's team. Different
Everyone
story.
on ESPN's talking about how Dak Prescott threw 6 interceptions. He had this interception, that interception. Then they show the replays. They're so dumb on these shows that they show the replays, and the ball is literally hitting off of Kevontae Turpin's helmet.
I was in an NBA 2K lobby with him last night.
With Kevontae Turpin?
Swear to God, bro. David was like, yo, dude, Kevontae Turpin's in our lobby right now. I was like, no way. He saw Kevontae Turpin.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
regardless, it bounces off his helmet into a defender's hands for an interception, and somehow we have dumbass Stephen A. Smith up here saying that that's on Dak Prescott. I'm sorry that Kevontae Turpin's helmet is so big that he can't see out of it. It is.
He's like a bobblehead.
I have no sympathy.
Bro, this is Kevontae
Herbert.
Turpin right here.
Yes,
this is what Kevontae Turpin looks right here.
That's him.
Oh, Pete, we're gonna miss you.
But that's where I'm sitting here as a Dak Prescott Cowboys fan, and I have no sympathy for this guy. You know,
that's fair.
You lost again at this level, and you threw 4 interceptions. You know, whether they dropped it or not, you threw 4 interceptions in a big game that you could have then gone on to the next round, which you would have played who? The Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
it's a winnable game.
And that's a winnable game for you. All you had to do was take down Houston, who looked like dog shit for the last 3 weeks of the season.
Even longer. The thing is, I've always been a Herbert guy.
I've been since day one.
I really have. I think what he's shown after that Tyrod injury years ago, where he came in and looked fantastic. His accuracy, his IQ, everything about him. I think he is a fantastic player. 100% deserves some criticism. I will say this. When you only have Ladd McConkey, who gets 9 receptions for 197 yards, and your next player has 2 receptions for 16 yards, you have a absurdly bad running game. Dude, they got need players. Quentin Johnston, listen. I bet you if I met you in real life, you'd be a great dude. But my God, you got to catch the ball. That's your job, and you are not good at it.
Isn't he the same guy?
He is not good at it, bro. His job is to catch the ball. He doesn't catch the ball.
Isn't he the same guy who, when he got drafted, he was like, "Now my
mom is going to retire." Yes, I don't know. I don't know about that anymore. Unless he's given all of his equity to his mother, different story. But yes. At this point, I think Herbert is going to get some criticism, which is he deserves some criticism. This game, watching it though, like that O-line, dude, like they were getting demolished, bro. You can't listen. You can only do so much when you have a second in the pocket to throw. I'm not defending him. I mean, I kind of am defending him in a way, but I'm not saying all of this is not his fault. But dude, they got to get another player, man. They got to get. I think Tyler Warren or some like Colson Loveland, one of those guys would be perfect for that offense, especially Tyler Warren. And I think they will get him. But Quentin Johnson ain't working out. That dude should get cut. He should get traded or cut. Ladd McConkey you nailed him. That's a great pick, but you got to get him more weapons because you have listen, I'm sorry.
Will Dissly
as a starting.
DJ Chark,
journeyman.
Did you see what DJ Chark posted after the game?
No, but I know, dude, he fell off big time. But again, when you're Josh Palmer, he was going to be the wide receiver 1 in that team. Where's he been? I mean, he might be hurt or something, but that's a guy I just don't know. Like, is he going to move the needle at wide receiver 2? Probably not. You got to get weapons for that guy. Oh, wow. Damn. Where do you post that on? Instagram? Yeah, long season for him. But listen, Herb's got to put more touch in the ball. All in all, Herb's got to put more touch on the ball. The running game, you got to get that figured out. I don't think J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, that you're kind of dealing with a lot of older veterans, injury history involved, very basic play calling. Like
they ran 18 times for 50 yards.
And just right up the middle. There was no zone block scheme. There was no zone read blocking, nothing like that. It was very basic. Herb didn't really have much to work with in the end. Like, again, when your old line is getting blown up like that, you can only do so much. And he actually thrives with being under pressure and getting blitzed. But dude, from Quentin Johnston down is abysmal. Like, they need to go get a weapon in the draft as soon as they can. That's what they're missing.
Hey, at least they got him Zeke Elliott.
Yeah, Zeke Elliott. How many snaps did he play?
0.
So, listen, they'll be back. I'm not worried about them. Again, I still think Herb is a very good player. He's not he's not like a what Sam Darnold is right now. Like, are they going to give him a contract? This, like, dude, Herb's a really fucking good player. Yeah. Like, you got to give him some weapons. That's really it for me. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Back to the show.
So, Buffalo takes down Denver
easy today.
31-7. Wasn't ever really a game outside of the first Denver drive.
Literally.
And I don't know, like, what more do we have to see from Josh Allen to just say he's the MVP? You know, he important plays of the game, he's finding, like, undrafted guys in the back of the end zone after he scrambles out of a tight pocket and has guys hanging on him. Like, that's what makes him an MVP. Mm-hmm. It's insane. Like, I get it. I get what Lamar's doing, but
it's getting close now, man.
But Mike,
I think the odds have shifted. I'm still with you, bro. Believe me. But
listen, when Derrick Henry has more rushing yards than Lamar has that's why I'm so combined yards,
100%.
Like,
I'm
it's
with
tough
you,
for me to sit here and be like, Lamar's the MVP.
Yeah.
I don't know. Josh Allen just looks really good right now.
If the playoffs don't affect what the MVP is, like, if playoffs are completely taken out, which I think they are, like, I think Josh deserves it, but, like, if playoffs were included, Lamar would be it for me.
We're going to see next week.
Yeah,
we're certainly going to see next week because the Buffalo Bills and the Ravens will be matching up.
What a game.
Before we get into that stuff,
that's down the
let's
road.
talk about Denver because, you know, this defense looked really good for 8+ weeks, 9+ weeks. You know,
all season,
and no one knows who anyone is.
All season.
It's crazy.
I think I'm the only one that can name like 4 or 5 players on that team.
Yeah.
On that defense, at least.
Yeah, that's probably true. You are a Denver stan for whatever reason.
As a Jets fan.
I want you to just go ahead and grade Bo Nix' season because you are the biggest Bo Nix fan I know. And I genuinely feel like he had a very, very good season, and he probably should be the Rookie of the Year. I don't think he's going to get it. I think him and Sean Payton have a very good partnership that's going to produce something in the near future.
So I'm in the range. I'm in the range between B+ and A-. Mm-hmm. I thought he's had what he's done for this team, and especially the players that were on that team. Because Marvin Mims, again, he wasn't really contributing like he is now. Cortland Sutton, his career has been revived. He's been a fantasy nightmare for players, and I just think he's been perfect for this team and Sean Payton. I know they lost to the Bills right now. Number one, that might be more of a hostile environment than Philly. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's a really hostile. Every time some team is going to Buffalo to play, they are getting blown out. That crowd is a different species.
It's different when you go there.
Yeah.
It's cold. It just is.
It's different. The fans are one with the snow. They are nutty. But Bo Nix,
they got guys in the parking lot pouring ketchup and mustard on
jumping
each
through
other.
Tables. They're shirtless.
Fires
it's
burning
freezing
on people.
Cold. Yeah, no, that is the wildest crowd I've ever seen. But back to Denver here.
Yeah.
Bo Nix is the future of that team. Well, I 100% agree with. I believe it. Mm-hmm. I probably will to the day I die. I think he's looked just as good as any other quarterback that has come out of this draft, even Jaden Daniels. But no, he's perfect for Sean Payton. He's perfect. I think Sean Payton is perfect for him as well.
Yeah.
But they have we posted this reel. They were going to get blown out by Buffalo. That was a given. But that future for that team is only trending upwards. I think with that defense being number one, Nick Bonito, I think he was top 3 in sacks as a linebacker. Zach Allen, very underrated guy, looking like a stud out there in the D-line. John Myers, ex-Jet. I don't know why they let him go. He's been contributing for the Denver Broncos. I think they need they're one of those teams that just need more on offense. Mm-hmm. Again, they could use a tight end. That's another team that could use a tight end. They could use a running back. I think Jaleel McLaughlin's a good change of pace back. I think Javonte has regressed. I think the O-line is good. I think they can get better in the trenches, maybe the guard position. I know the one guard, I think the right guard is very good. But they're there, man. They have all of the tools in place to be a very good team. Yeah. I think they could compete for the division crazy enough. If the more better they get, they could compete. But they could be a wild card team every single year. That's a really good team in Buffalo they're playing. You know this. Yeah. But they got to get more weapons on offense. They're another team. I think Cortland Sutton, I think he will stay. Troy Franklin, he can be a good receiver. Not very good with his hands. He's a chest catcher, needs to use his hands more, but tight end, running back, and the defense is fine. Mm-hmm. The defense is just fine, bro. They looked, listen, when they had that first touchdown right off the bat, it's like, okay, like, can they do it? Like, why not? Why not Bo Nix? Let's go. Why not Bo Nix? But no, he's going to be the future of that team.
Absolutely. And when you
look
at
with that?
No, I do.
Really?
I do. And when you look at the divisions here, you know, that AFC West could be a 3-team division for a couple years now because the AFC East does not look like it's changing very much. If anything, it's going backwards.
Yeah. Probably all the teams besides Buffalo. So
yeah, we all could not have been more wrong about that division this year. Yeah. Way, way wrong. And then you look at the AFC North, I think they are just going to be forever a two-teamer because they just beat the shit out of each other. Yeah. You know, obviously the Bengals.
Physical football.
Bengals will be back next year.
Yeah.
They're going to be back. 100%. Cleveland, who knows what they're going to do. It sounds like they might be taking a quarterback in the draft. Speculation that they might pick skill position players early and then take Jackson Dart late. That's something to watch out for. And then you look at the AFC South, that's going to be a 1-team division for a long time because Indianapolis Colts look like they're going nowhere. Yeah. The Jags look like they're going to get moved to London and kicked out of the league. And the Titans, I mean, you have Will Levis eating mayonnaise on the side on the commercials.
And throwing in his coffee.
It's weird that he has one of the best commercials in the league. But going back to this division, what we're actually talking about, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos, I could see them being a 3-team race for probably 5 to 10 years because Mahomes ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. Herb ain't going nowhere. I do have questions.
They're going to get better.
I don't think Herb's a good playoff guy, but he ain't going nowhere. And the Broncos, I think they're only going up.
Yeah. And you know what?
They're only going up.
It's wild because who are their coaches? Sean Payton, a legendary coach that has won the Super Bowl before. Jim Harbaugh lost the Super Bowl but has been there. Yep. Andy Reid, one of the best coaches of all time. This is all it is, dude. It's if you get the guy right, you're going to win. Doesn't matter what personnel you have. Look at Tomlin and the Steelers. We'll touch on that game next. Yeah. Same thing. Average to maybe below average, some above average players, but he's making the big game. Mm-hmm. Like it really comes down. And look, Patriots and Vrabel. If you want to touch on that quick or no? Or should we wait?
No, we can wait.
Okay, same thing. Like you just got to get your guy. You got to get your guy. Got to develop them correctly, and you'll be fine.
And it's going to be interesting because a lot of stuff coming out of the Raiders camp. You got Tom Brady looking at new head coaches, quarterbacks. That team could be completely different next year. I mean, the Raiders have skill position players that could produce something. They have a defense that could produce something. Was it coaching? I don't know. But that's an off-season topic.
Very
for
big
another
shocker.
Time.
Big shocker.
I was surprised they got rid of him. I was surprised because
team they got, bro.
He's got no quarterback.
Yeah,
you have O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. You ain't winning.
Yep.
All right, but let's get into Baltimore and Pittsburgh. So,
kick it off. Go ahead.
Mike Tomlin once again. He sneaks into the playoffs. He tried his damnedest to be not 500 this year. He couldn't get it done. He finished 10-7, and then he goes to the playoffs. And what does he do for like the 7th or 8th time in a row? He gets absolutely shit stomped, especially this game because it was the Baltimore Ravens, and they're back out of the playoffs again, and we're back to the start, Mike.
This is a year from now.
This show has been around for what, 4 years now? Mm-hmm. 4 years, and every year at this week of the season, we have the same conversation about the Steelers because what did they do? They went nearly 500 this year, and then it's a first-round exit and off to Cancun. And you know what? Mike Tomlin is just a circle of life. The Steelers fans are all like, it doesn't get better than this. We have Mike Tomlin. He's the best coach in the NFL, but also you're 500 and you can't do shit. And
can you play the clip from last year? Mike Tomlin and the Big Ben ran that the 2010s, like 2008 to the 2010s, even like they were killing it. They like Mike Tomlin is a great coach. Like I can never discredit that at all. Steelers fans, they expect to win constantly. Like they expect to always be competitive because it's the Steeler way. The Rooneys, they're always going to support Mike Tomlin. He is taking these teams with not that many good players to the playoffs. Like that just goes to show the good coach that he is. Like this is a question for Steelers fans. Like how much can you settle for this? You've had your 500 seasons, but again, you've lost. This is now your third wild card playoff game in the last, like, since 2020, I believe.
They've lost 5 straight playoff games.
Like, how much longer can you put up with this? And again, this is nothing on Mike Tomlin, but it's sometimes a change is needed. Can we make sure to repost that?
We'll add it in here.
Have to.
Because I don't know how you keep Mike Tomlin after this. The whole narrative was he doesn't have a quarterback. We had Mason Rudolph. We had Kenny Pickett wearing 2 gloves, which then Pickett goes to the Philadelphia Eagles and wins a football game.
Penny Kickett.
Yeah, like
Penny Kickett.
And then
what a name.
You got the duck caller. You haven't had anything since Big Ben. You haven't had anything since Big Ben. So what does the team go out and do? They didn't get you just one quarterback. They went out and got you 2 quarterbacks. They gave you a young superstar, and they gave you an old head who can throw the ball. If you mixed him and Herb, they would have a great arm. But all he does is fling this thing like he's throwing lobs and ephuses into batters. It is ridiculous what they have this guy dealing with. And, they give you these 2 quarterbacks, Mike Tomlin. What do? You go 500 again, and you have another first-round exit. And this time it was an embarrassment in Baltimore, where they had Ray Lewis coming out and eating grass again. And on top of that, Mike, and I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to Mike Tomlin. The only thing that the Ravens had going for them this year was Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. What do both of them do?
Use their legs.
They use their legs. So what did you do? You let Derrick Henry run for 40-yard tutties, and Lamar Jackson had 40 yards in the first quarter rushing. How does that make any sense at all to me? I don't know. It helped me in my parlays because I knew this was going to happen. It was the most obvious thing of all time. And this brings me to my final point on Mike Tomlin. Mike?
Go ahead.
The Jets should be asking the Steelers and making them say no to an interview for Mike Tomlin, because the Steelers should be getting rid of Mike Tomlin, getting a new voice in there, and Mike Tomlin would be great for what the Jets need right now. They need a Mike Tomlin in there just to get them to 500, get a voice in there, get these little boys that are on the Jets to turn into men. Get these little boys to turn into Watts. We need Mike Tomlin in the New York Jet green on the sideline. No more of this Ben Johnson bullshit. Vrabel's off the table. Rex Ryan can stay with his shitty takes over at ESPN, talking about how, the Texans are going to get knocked out. It's not even going to be a game. The Chargers got a first-round bye. Buddy, they're smoking cigars in your face, which I think we didn't talk about that, but I am concerned about that. This could be a blowout game for Kansas City. But Mike Tomlin should be released by the Steelers. Let him go. It is time for a new voice. He's been around long enough. If you pull up the graphic of every playoff game since his Super Bowl, it's close to like 30-0 every game, 20-0 every game.
I got it here.
It is time. It is time for a new voice. Mike, tell me this. The Jets need a new voice in Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin needs to leave the Steelers.
So, real quick, Muller, they won't release him. They should trade him. This is his last year of his contract. I'm with you. We said this last year, and I get it. This is why it's so tough to talk about, because what he is as a coach, his 17 years he's been with a Steeler, phenomenal. I have all the respect in the world for Mike Tomlin. If he's getting over 500 every single season, he's going to the playoffs most of the time throughout his tenure with the Steelers. Nothing but respect for this guy. But it's time, bro. Again, we talked about this with the Cowboys. I think too much stability can be a bad thing because now they're stagnant. Now I feel like they're in like the typical playoff regular season purgatory that they've been in for the last 4 to 5 years. Probably more before then. So the last 5 appearances, 4 of them have been first-round wild card exits.
Yes.
Over 500. The one, I think they were in the divisional game, they lost. 28-plus points the last 5 times they were in those playoff games. 28 was the lowest, and then the rest it was 30, 42.
Yeah.
they gave up 370 yards per game. And we ride on this defense, and they are a damn good defense. We know this. T.J. Watt threw up a Tony Snell stat line,
He
by
did,
the way.
and he got stopped by Mr. Nobody. The week before, Rosengarten's telling Myles Garrett that he's a nobody and just ask for his jersey.
Pretty much.
And then Mr. Nobody comes out here and shuts down what they're calling the Defensive Player of the Year. Bruddy, that award, if it had T.J. Watt's name engraved on it, scratch it and write Micah Parsons because he does not deserve this thing.
Myles Garrett?
No, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons has better numbers than both of them. Let's not kid around here, Mike. This is ridiculous. Now I lost my train of thought.
Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Back to the show.
This is the only time I've seen the team do this so much. And
5 weeks ago, we said they were going to go for 4.
Yeah.
Everyone saw this coming, and they did nothing to stop
What did
this.
I say, bro? I told you that this offense was not convincing. This offense was not convincing, bro.
Think about
how much can the defense save you every single game? And then when you play guys like the Eagles and the Chiefs and the Ravens, how much can your offense do? You know what? I feel bad for him because not all of it is on Mike Tomlin. It's not. Omar Khan can't get a quarterback. Yeah.
See that? That was the last time you guys were above 500 and actually decent. And Kurt Warner was still in the league, I think, then.
And listen, again, like, it's hard. I think personally, this is the problem with Steelers. They won't rebuild. And they don't have to rebuild. They can add. It's a rebuild, but it's not a rebuild where you can still compete. But I just think Tomlin, is that the standard? Is that the standard?
When
you go over 500 and you lose in the first round of the playoffs, is that the standard? Because with me, I would not be cool with it. It's 5 years now where we have not won a playoff game as a Steelers fan, not me, but the Steelers fans in general, who are still, they're on the fence like, oh, I don't want to see him go. I get it. Because he's a phenomenal coach that's going to take you to the playoffs every single year. He's going to give you a 500 record with below average players. But you're not going to compete when you have below average to average players and maybe 2 or 3 above average players, 2, 3 or 4. They have above average players, some of them, but they also have average guys as well. But when you don't have a quarterback, Omar Khan, that's on you. Mm-hmm. And it's just the offense is not there, bro. They had 29 rushing yards, bro. It's just not there.
The Steelers?
He needs a reset. And the Steelers need a reset, dude. If this is what you want, then by all means, keep Tomlin and give yourself a chance. I think, listen, if they got a quarterback somehow, like, it's going to take time. It's not going to be an immediate, we're going to go 13-4 and we're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. Yeah. That's so rare to happen in the AFC, in the league nowadays. It's so rare. This is a whole new chapter of this organization and Mike Tomlin's career, because Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, what's happening there? We don't really know. Are both of them the answer? Probably not. Let's be real. Maybe Justin could do it,
dude. I think Justin
I don't
Fields.
know. But okay, so if Justin Fields is there, then why not keep him and then go from there? If that's the issue. But if he's not the guy and there's no quarterback there, why would Mike Tomlin stay there and start over with a new guy who probably got drafted, be a rookie, and continue this stuff that's happening? And again, he's winning games. Go ahead.
So if their whole plan is to go get another quarterback, and
it's kind of looking like it.
If they're like, we're going to draft another quarterback here and start from scratch again, I could see where they're coming from in terms of having Mike Tomlin return, because you know what you're going to get. You know what he can get out of a rookie quarterback, especially from – they're not going to get a top guy this year. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they're going to be in the late,
if they were
20s,
smart, they're bringing Justin Fields back, because I said this last week when we posted that graphic of their stats. If Justin Fields plays, I think this is an actual football game. It's not a blowout, because he just gives you the extra element. It's the same thing we said at the beginning of the year. There's a reason why we were all saying Fields shouldn't have been benched. Yeah, Russell Wilson looked good, and then we were blinded by the run he went on. But then when you actually play real teams, look what happens. And Justin Fields, when you're talking about trying to get fans behind you, Russell Wilson, being a weird individual, is not going to get fans behind you. Justin Fields,
they just know what kind of player
it could be. It could be chaos.
We don't know.
It could be chaos. That's fine though, because when it works out and
he
runs for 25 yards and tries to hurdle a guy and injures himself, the fans are going to be ecstatic, because they know he's going to get up. He's a young whippersnapper, like we like to say on this show, and he would be fine. I think that they should be running it back with Justin Fields, and if they don't, Mike Tomlin should be taking him with him to the Jets.
We're leaving the Jets out of this. But it is time for I think the Bears. If they get an interview from him, you don't let him walk out of that building. No way.
But that's what I mean.
That's perfect.
Why have we not had anyone say, can we interview Mike Tomlin? Why has no one gone out there, put their neck out there, and made the Steelers say no?
I don't know that.
Why has that not occurred yet?
I don't know. Maybe because they were in the playoffs. I mean, now we might see
Ben
some
Johnson's
interviews.
in the playoffs.
True.
Glenn's in the playoffs.
On buys.
I get that. But we have other coaches that aren't on buys that
Yeah.
are in the playoffs that are getting interviewed.
That's true. I just listen. You gave 17 years to the Steelers. Mm-hmm. You got a Super Bowl. You have a great resume. Everything looks fantastic on your resume with this team. But it's just time. I said this last year. It's just time for a reset, man. Like, if this is the standard and you want it, that's fine. But I think hold on, real quick.
No, yeah, finish, because I'm gonna.
That's not fine, by the way. I just think the GM has failed Tomlin, and Tomlin is doing all he can, but the GM is just not getting it done. I'm sorry. And yes, they had faith in Russ, and they had a pretty good contract on his hand. 1 year, maybe 12 mil, I think it was something like that. They gave him a chance. But when you don't have a Big Ben that you can depend on, and you can maybe go far in the playoffs and potentially win a Super Bowl, it's like, where are we getting? The offense is not good. I'm sorry. Pickens is good. He's a great receiver. What else do they have? I know you love Calvin Austin. Let's be real here.
No,
wide receiver 3.
But that's what we were saying last show.
Exactly.
He's a great wide receiver 3, and look at that pass
Arthur
that he caught
Smith,
and got
bro.
lit up.
You're
That's
gonna win
why.
with Arthur Smith? Get the fuck out of here.
No, you're not.
Najee Harris, the run game, basic.
They brought in Arthur Smith like he was going to fix this offense that already was behind, and he's talking about how he wants to get the run game going. But he couldn't get the run game going with Bijan Robinson in that offense down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
How are we going to get the run game going with Najee Harris in this? It doesn't make any sense to me. It is baffling. But speaking on, is this a standard? You keep bringing up, is this a standard of the Steelers?
How many times have we seen
this? Of the Steelers. But I don't think that's the question here, Mike. I don't think it's the standard of the Steelers. Is it the standard of Pittsburgh? Is it the standard of Pittsburgh? The Penguins used to be a powerhouse when Big Ben was there. And now they've kept, you keep Malkin around. You keep Crosby around these low deals. You keep these old heads around. And couldn't tell you the last time I cared about the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're irrelevant to me. They're just as good as the Flyers, who have stunk for 20 years. Flyers haven't been good since Keith Primo was there. And then you got the Pittsburgh Pirates. You have the best pitcher in baseball possibly in your rookie. But Andrew McCutchen's been your best fielding player for 15 years? When are we going to get past this? When are we going to get past this? But we keep coming back to this, and you could say that about every team in Pittsburgh. Is it a Pittsburgh issue?
Maybe.
I'm starting to think Pittsburgh fans in general are the issue, because I think they think higher of themselves than what their teams are. Their teams are farm systems compared to the rest of their leagues at this point. It's kind of embarrassing for them.
They're going to come at me.
It's kind of embarrassing.
Whatever reel we put out, I'm going to get.
That's
hate
fine.
From it.
That's fine.
Is that the Mets fan wearing a gray sweater?
you look at New York. Every team in New York's trying to win. Yeah, the Nets have Ben Simmons, but at least they got guys that are scoring. They're winning basketball games. They're in it. The Knicks are dominating. The Yankees dominating. The Mets go out and get Soto. They're dominating. Both Yankees and the Mets made it almost to the World Series.
Giants,
the Jets and the Giants.
But they tried too, bro. At least the Jets did.
The Jets went for it.
Yeah,
the Giants thought they were going for it, except they gave away 3 All-Pros. But it's like most of the teams in these cities, Philadelphia, you got L.A.
It's loyalty at the end of the day, bro.
But what
I think that's what it is for
Pittsburgh isn't a big market. Baltimore's a bigger market than Pittsburgh right now in terms of their sports.
Yes. Yeah.
Washington's a bigger market in terms of their sports. Their teams are trying. Washington Capitals going to Stanley Cups. They're playing hard. They're rebuilding around Ovechkin constantly. It's important to keep Ovechkin. It's important to keep your star players. Like, you can keep Crosby, but what have you put around the guy? What you can keep Andrew McCutchen, but what are you putting around the guy besides a pitcher? You keep getting rid of all your young talent. Yeah, Cruz. But he'll be gone
Sawinski.
soon anyways. Talk to any Pittsburgh fan. They're going to get rid of him soon. The moment he comes out and is batting above 300, they're gone.
Pirates. Okay, I'll give the Pirates a pass. I feel like they are trying though. Like they've actually had
for the first year and how long though, Mike. Yes. Like the standard is the standard in Pittsburgh, and it's a Pittsburgh issue.
I just think for me, like what I think about
even the Pittsburgh basketball team at the university, the basketball team and the football team. I mean, the football team at least is putting something together, but give it till next year, they'll be done. They couldn't even pull it together for a bowl game. Yeah. It's actually embarrassing.
For me, we're just strictly talking about the Steelers. I think it's such a loyalty aspect where Rooney and Tomlin, they have gotten well for so long. Tomlin has exceeded expectations because expectations have been low according to the whole fucking league besides the Steelers, where they're playing with below average talent. And Mike Tomlin is going out there and is showing how good of a coach he is and what he can do as a leader with these players that he has. But it's just like last year, people were like, you're crazy. Mike Tomlin is the greatest coach, blah, blah, blah. He takes these below average teams to the playoffs, and that's fine.
He is.
But when you keep doing shit like this, is what we said last year, when shit like this happens, don't complain about it because this is what you guys are asking for. Simple. It's very simple. And now you look at the last 4 years where you lost to Baker, you lost to whoever, probably the Chiefs last year. You now lost to the Ravens, who you've now seen 3 times and beat them once this year. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. The writing is on the wall. You are not good enough. The offense is not good enough. Defense is fine. Defense is good enough. The offense is not. Omar Khan, whatever he needs to, they're probably going to take a fucking DN at this point. You got to address the offense to at least keep Mike Tomlin happy and keep him in Pittsburgh. Because there are going to be teams requesting interviews for him. And there are a lot of teams that are going to fucking want him. And I think he's going to want a lot of teams. I would take the Bears if I was him right now. You get a young quarterback who's ready. I would go to the Commanders if Dan Quinn's out. The Jets, probably not. The Cowboys. Any team would be glad to have him, which is why they've never given him up, because he meets the standard. But it's time. It's time for a reset, and they won't do it. Nope. I think it's for the better of him, Mike Tomlin. Again, he's been there for 17 years, and I think it's better for the Steelers. I think it's better to get, like you said, a new voice in there, a new scheme in there. Just listen, if this is what you're going to do, it's time to make a change. He's done phenomenal. It's no hate on Mike Tomlin whatsoever. Again, I think it's more on Omar Khan freaking drafting these players and just not really giving the help that he needs. Mike Tomlin's done enough. Nothing on him. But it's just, his contract's expiring. My guess he probably will go back just because he's a Steeler guy, always has been, and he's going to be fine with however much money he's going to get paid. His life is probably in Pittsburgh for God knows how much longer, like probably the rest of his life. It just is like Rooney. When is enough of this? When is it time where instead of doing this, we go for the big game, we go and win a Super Bowl, and let's not be complacent. Let's not stay content. Like I truly think he should go.
All right, let's move on then.
Good stuff.
Philadelphia and Green Bay. The Eagles. This one just finished up. The Eagles 22, Green Bay 10. Honestly, Mike, it should have been a much better game than it was. Mm-hmm. Injuries killed this game.
Yeah.
And,
100%.
And it sucks for Philadelphia because I'm going to sit here and say, we will never know how you would have done against a full-strength team. So we will have to wait till next week. I can't even make an assumption on how good of a football team they are right now because they didn't even play against the Packers. They played against their JV squad. Jaden Reed go down with an injury late. Dobbs went down with a concussion, RIP. The center.
The fucking Elton Jenkins, he went down, probably one of the best linemen in the league.
You had everybody dropping like flies. Out. Watson tore his ACL last week, correct?
I think he tore it a couple weeks ago, but they declared he actually tore it
last week. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm just joking, Eagles fans, before you get all bent out of shape. Ethan, don't text me.
Ethan's probably trying to watch this right now whenever this will debut.
Yeah. He's going to text me. I know he will. Mm-hmm. But the Eagles looked good, ? Because Jalen Hurts, I just feel like, I feel like all these tackles he's taking is starting to wear and tear on him. I think he played good. He had 2 touchdowns, 131 yards. He ran for 36. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I like Saquon a lot. I like Devonta Smith a lot. I like the guys on this team. Shout out to Jahan Dotson getting a tutty. I just don't want them to overdo it with Hurts. I tweeted out actually today. I was like, I can't wait to see 36-year-old Jalen Hurts doing a tush push in 10 years against the Cowboys for a first down.
And it working.
But it's at what point is Hurts taking too much weight? At what point is it too many hits? This is your franchise quarterback. You don't want to beat him up and beat him up and beat him up. Like today, he's coming off concussion. They have him running 6-7 times. He's scrambling out of the pocket, getting hit. And, I get it. Like, he's good. He's good. He's off concussion protocol. He's good. We got another 3 games. This game was well in hand. What are you looking at before?
I thought the gameplay was pretty. I thought it was pretty great for him. To be honest,
I thought it was good until the fourth quarter when I still see him running.
Mm-hmm. But at least he was taking the slides though. I think he was making smart plays. I thought,
but then he's not sliding when he's got 3 guys about to drill him.
Yeah, but that's on him. On his head. That's not a. I think that's on him.
But why put him in that position?
No, I get it. I mean, sometimes you're gonna have to. You know what I mean? Because Saquon was getting stopped, and you know what? This is what I said. If they just feed Saquon like they should be fine enough to win this game. Yeah. Dallas Goedert with a fantastic catch and run, stiff arm the hell out of that quarterback. But I thought the game plan was very smart. Granted, Hurts coming off an injury. I thought they played it really smart. I thought they fed Saquon enough. Yeah. I thought they got the ball out early. Hurts was scrambling when he had to. I like the RPOs. I think that was getting Green Bay a little bit off rhythm on defense. You got to give them credit. I thought the Green Bay defense played a really good game. I think they were smothering Saquon a lot, so they were forcing Hurts to throw. I mean, he only threw for 24, 25 times. But
21 times.
21 times, yeah.
Saquon ran for 25, 119, and he was smothered.
But guess what? That's he really was though. Funny enough. But the thing is, yeah, I know. But that's what they have to do. Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play hero ball. I feel like we're beating a dead horse here. This is their offense. This is their identity, and this is what should be their identity. We said this from the start, before the year even started. This should be their identity.
You know what? I take it back. Fuck it. I want you to run him into the ground till he can't move.
Truly.
I want Saquon and Jalen Hurts to be run into the ground till they can't move, and then after the Super Bowl, I want them to be so sore. But I hope you guys get a Super Bowl. I made that pick a while ago.
How many catches did AJ Brown have today? One, maybe one.
AJ Brown had 1 catch, 3 targets, 10 yards, and he read about 75 pages of his book on the sideline.
Yeah. Inner excellence, baby. Go look for it on Amazon.
That was phenomenal. That book just exploded.
That was such
a
LeBron moment, bro. Oh, yeah, 100. All my buddies were sending me in the GM. They're like, inner excellence, we got to get this.
Also, I didn't see a bookmark. I saw him spinning to pages.
He just opened up a book and just started reading maybe page 128.
There's no way. He pulled a LeBron. Completely.
Oh, 100%, bro. You ask him I hope they ask him what that book is about. He's like, it's about, being excellent on the inside of your mind.
Yes. He looked up Spark Notes real fast after the game.
He made sure. He's like, shit. But no, listen, if Jalen Hurts is throwing 40 times a game, that's an issue in my opinion, because you're either down or Saquon's hurt or something else. If he's throwing 21 times a game, they're winning. I know they're controlling the line of scrimmage. I know Saquon's probably having a really good game. Weird. I think it was more of a good defensive game than it was an offensive game. I thought, I don't know, Slay with that big play. Again, big play Slay. Zach Bond, another great read on Jordan Love. Yeah. But
that one was crazy.
Read him like a book there. Shout out to AJ Brown. But very defensive game. I thought the Packers were, again, they were just so injury ridden. And I think Jordan Love, this dude, he gets so much hype. I know Eli was coming at me for not having her in my top 10. People were coming at me for not having Jordan Love in my top 10. But this is the exact reason why, bro. And again, you could talk about his injuries and whatnot, but it's not like your backups were like terrible. Bo Melton,
do I have to go through the same talk
Wicks? No, we're not going to, because this is what you've said.
I will.
Yes,
this is a Dak Prescott situation once again. You know, he has no wide receivers, yet we expect him to make magic.
Yeah.
And when he can't make magic, we're all like, Jordan Love sucks. It doesn't make sense to me.
I just never was
that
big of a fan of him anyways.
I was a big fan. You were on Herb. I was on Jordan Love. Yeah, and both of our guys kind of sucked today.
Yes.
100%. But at the same time, both of our guys, no help. Mm-hmm. No help.
Yeah. And it's the unfortunate reality of the NFL. And they want to increase games this season. Come on now. Stop it. Let's roll with 17 games in the season. Let's go from there, please.
So we never really touched on this. I don't know how we didn't, but I want to touch on this because I think this is a little bit with this game, a little not. I think Saquon Barkley benefited, talking about the record, benefited by not playing Week 18 with the record, and here's why.
I do too.
Played the same amount of games
I do too.
as, what's his name?
Dickerson.
Yep. And he had way less carries, way more yards per carry. Mm-hmm. And I think that matters way more in the long run because he can always look back and be like, well, if I played Week 18, I'm guaranteed I'm getting that record.
Easily against the Giants.
I played the same amount of games, and I didn't have to run as much as him to get this amount of yards. I think in the long run, people are going to look back on this season and say, you know what, Saquon Barkley, they're going to say that he was the better running back. Absolutely, that was the better season. And
he was hurt for a couple times too.
Yeah.
And the offense was way different where you weren't running every single freaking play.
Something to watch out for today. He did pick up a little nagging injury in his ankle.
That with his hand.
Or was it his hand?
I think it was his hand.
Oh, I thought he was limping. So he pulled a little office stunt there.
Yeah, I think it was
where
his left hand.
He hurt his left hand and started limping on his left foot. That's it. It's
just like
it
goes to your mind. Once you hurt, you just start limping.
Yeah.
You have to start functioning differently.
Oh,
but no, I think the game itself, it was just a typical Eagles game, in my opinion. Like running the ball, Jalen Hurts making smart throws. Nothing crazy. I think next week's going to be more of a challenge. Again, I think they did great with the Packers. I thought Jalen Carter had a good game. But, yeah, Packers, they just weren't. They once a missed field goal happened and Jordan Love throwing picks, just rough. The first play of the game, though, by the way, that should have been Packers' ball. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous call.
They're not guaranteed Bucs or Washington, correct? Because if the Rams win, no.
It would be the lowest seed.
So if the Rams win, the Rams would go to Detroit.
I think if the Bucs win,
the Bucs are the 3
and the Rams
seed.
win.
No, Bucs are the 4 seed.
Yeah, so if the Bucs win and the Rams win, I think Eagles would get the Rams.
Well, the Rams are the lower seed.
Yeah, so they would get the. I would think they would get the.
So,
no.
So the Rams would go to Detroit.
Yes.
But if Washington wins,
they would go to Detroit, I believe.
No, because the Bucs are playing Washington, and Bucs are the 4 seed, so Washington's the 5 seed.
I thought they were the 6 seed, and I thought the Rams were the 7 seed.
It would have to be Washington's the 5, and then the Packers.
God.
Yeah,
my mind is fucked right now.
So
I haven't looked at the bracket.
We don't know who they're playing yet.
The 7 seed was the Packers, bro, so they're gone now. So I think whoever. Yes, they were the 7 seed.
Yes. Fuck, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I feel bad for anyone listening right now.
Yeah, just skip over that part, dude. Regardless, the Eagles are going to play someone we're going to touch on Tuesday.
So I do want to touch on something that we talked about before the show that we found out. So my granddad calls me on my way over here after the game. And we get to talking, and we're talking Nova Ball, talking Sixers, how they are kind of ass cheeks. We're talking Flyers, how they beat up Cutter last night. And then we start talking about the Birds game as it's finishing up. And I come to find out that my poor grandmother, my Mimi, was watching the Eagles this year, every game, in Spanish. Couldn't figure out how to get it in English on her TV.
You got to go help her.
She watched every game in Spanish and then had the broadcast on her phone in English so that she could hear it. But then she watched it on the TV so she could see it.
You got to give her some props, though. At least
That's dedication.
Technologically sound enough to where's the broadcast?
She's not.
Well, she tried, dude.
Because if she was,
listen,
she would find it on the TV.
Soup would mess it up. He would if he could not find the regular broadcast and was listening to Spanish, he wouldn't watch it at all. No. He wouldn't even try to look for it. So the fact that she had a broadcast and was watching it on the television, dedication.
It's insane.
You gotta go help her, bro. Come on, man.
I try. I told them they're watching Telemundo. It has to be.
Telemundo.
It has to be. What else? What other channel would it be?
ESPN Deportes.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have it on ESPN Deportes, would they? It's not a Monday night game.
No. I don't know. But maybe it was on Telemundo.
I don't know. That's just, I thought that was the funniest thing.
And your granddad's just not helping her
He was
out.
trying to. He couldn't figure out either.
I don't know what to tell you there. You got to go make an effort to go help them. You got to figure out. Search up the game.
What? One more game? They aren't winning the next one.
Well, it doesn't matter. At least she could say that she watched the game in English. So you go, you click the red button on the DirecTV button and a remote, and then you just go find the NFL game, click it, find the channel, bam.
They have YouTube TV.
It's on YouTube TV.
That's what I mean. Like it should be coming up right away. Like there should be no But if she's been watching it all season on that channel, it probably comes up first every time the Eagles play.
Why did she tell you this the first week of the playoffs?
I don't know. Because I think it just was told to me because it was currently happening. Like, it wasn't the first thing on her mind, but it was tonight. Like, oh, the game's in Spanish right now as it's finishing up.
She's a very simple woman. Didn't bother her. As long as she found if she did not find the broadcast, you probably would have found out by week 5.
Unreal,
That's a rough estimate.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
unreal.
I wish her the best. I hope she finds it.
Yeah.
Next game.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Vrabel and maybe a Jets head coach search? Because I have a couple people I think the Jets should hire.
I think we should hold off on the Jets stuff for now.
You want to talk Vrabel?
Because
there's not really much to talk about.
There's nothing really to talk about. Vrabel's the Patriots coach. It was always going to happen. Everyone should have seen this coming from day one.
I said it was highly likely, like 80% going to happen.
Yeah,
so.
we should have seen it coming the moment he got inducted to the Hall of Fame. That speech, it was so telling that he was eventually going to come there.
Once Gerard Mayo got fired and Vrabel's name was around, it was pretty just a given. They were like, shit. Like,
it kind of sucks because, if they had brought Vrabel in last year, like, you could have made Mayo the defensive coordinator, and that defense would be a problem.
My thing is, like, is it that attractive of a job? Like,
I think for him though,
yes,
like for him and Mayo, it is because of that legacy they have there.
Yeah.
It's different for a Ben Johnson where he's just looking for what's the best spot for me.
Yes,
that
makes sense.
For Vrabel, it means a little more to go back to New England.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I don't even think he cares about it at the end of the day. It's like he's got Drake May that he could work around. Like,
and the defense is still decent. It's not the defense is never going to be bad.
Yeah, they'll never be bad. I just I think if you want to like turn a franchise around like within the next year, like that's not the spot. But like the next 3 to 5 years, possibly. Yeah. I mean, you're probably still going to be around that time. So yeah, that was more of a legacy thing. I agree with you. It sucks because I really wanted the Jets to have him, but they got a couple other options that I want. So. Yeah, that's going to get interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I do want to hold off on the Jets stuff because there's so many things to unpack there that I think we're better off waiting because we're going to say a bunch of stuff and it could be a whole 180 tomorrow when we wake up. Like today I saw Rex Ryan's an absolute no-go, supposedly. Yeah. Like I don't want to get into it because the Jets are a mess right now.
I'll inform you all on that stuff because I've been doing I will say this, I know who I want, and it's not Rex Ryan. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
So good stuff on the Mortals.
Yeah, 2-0, 1-1. Good start to the playoffs with the Mortals.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get real quick before we get out of here. Who do you think is going to win these last 2 games?
So I have Tampa. I'm going to ride with Tampa here. Mm-hmm. I know the Commanders already have lost to them early in the season, but I'm riding. I think they're hot. They're that hot team that you don't really want to see.
No.
And I'm going to still ride with the Vikings, bro. I think they're just too good, and I think on paper and just in general, I think they have a better roster. I think the Rams are a little too young right now. I don't think they'll get it done unless Stafford just goes off for 5 touchdowns, puts up a Joe Burrow stat line. But I'm going to ride with the Vikings. I like their defense more. I think Sam is a very good opportunity for him to kind of further his career either in Minnesota or elsewhere. So a lot of stake for him. I'm going to go with Minnesota.
So I'll give my pick. I say pick because I can see the other score. So I don't want to give that pick right now because I'll be biased. I'm just that way. I am going to stick with the Rams, though, and everyone knows why. I'm a sucker for storylines. I say that all the time.
The wildfires.
Their whole place got burnt down.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with the Rams. I think it's one of those games. Yeah, pray for
everybody.
Yep.
Sending love, thoughts, and prayers.
Rams are going to win this for the people.
There you go.
That's what I'm staying with. So do you have anything else to talk about here?
Like, follow, and subscribe.
Subway.
Yeah. No.
Eat fresh. Like, follow, subscribe. Mike, Muller, we're out.
Peace.